All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show tonight. I am Daniel Brown. Right now, I'm the only one with you because both of my scheduled co-hosts are having issues. That's all right, whatever. They'll show up when they show up. Thanks for joining us tonight. We got a great show planned. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my screen share so you can see the ultimate place to be tonight. This is you, me, and btc.com/live. We got the 21 million club in the chat already, so thanks for joining us there. And I see Zach with me. How's it going, Zach?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. Glad you could be with us after a while, and you got a great topic lined up tonight.
Yeah.
We'll be covering it's so weird. The GOP actually made moves to defend Coinbase, which is weird. To me, it seemed out of the blue, but I'm sure there's some backstory that we'll get into. As I was saying, though, this is the place to be. You, me, and btc.com/live. You can watch the video stream from YouTube. You can chat with the same chat from YouTube as well. There's our show notes here. We got some links if you want to see the actual specific stories that we're about to cover. And as you keep going, you'll see our open tweet lines if you want to click some tweet buttons. And the most important thing you got to do tonight is vote in our poll. And that's regarding our other story that we'll get to for the first half of the show. 4 factors. I did this. This is 3, but there are 4 factors. I guess you can't see me because I'm screen sharing anyway, so it doesn't matter that I held up 3 fingers. 4 factors, one more time, that are driving the Bitcoin price, according to one analyst from Yahoo Finance. I don't know how trustworthy Yahoo Finance is, but we're going to get into some of that coverage and talk about things that are driving Bitcoin. That's all coming up. Once again, you, me, and btc.com/live, and jump in the chat for sure. That's the best part of the night, is talking with you guys. So thanks again, 21 Million Club. Guys, I want to tell you one more time about Spells of Genesis. They made an awesome announcement today. They will be releasing there aren't a ton of details yet, but there's going to be a multiplayer combat type feature coming soon to the Spells of Genesis card game, where the cards are on the blockchain. How freaking cool is that? Just as provably rare as Bitcoin, just as tradable as Bitcoin, and it's incredible. So you got to check it out. You can go to you, me, and btc.com/SOG for Spells of Genesis to check that out. All kinds of great stuff coming in an update later this month. Also, just for kicks, I will turn off my screen share and show you my awesome poster I got behind me. It's a little covered by my mic, but yeah, that is some of the art from Spells of Genesis, and it's incredible. I know it's probably grainy on the video or whatever, but it is incredible. It's huge, it's bright, and I love dragons, so why the heck not? That is from SOGBazaar.com, like market, BAZAAR, SOGBazaar.com if you want to check it out. All right, Zach, so let me ask you, did you get a chance to look into those 4 reasons why Bitcoin keeps hitting new highs? That's the headline we got. Did you look into any of that?
Yeah, I did a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, I did a little bit.
Okay, so we got 4 main things. We'll go through point by point. We should also, random thing, we should have Tim joining us eventually. He got it. Hey, here, this is huge, guys. Ready for this? He got a brand new computer, so we're hoping that his audio finally pulls itself together. So we'll be waiting for him. He's setting it up or whatever. I'm not sure I have complete faith in him to pull through. He might fail all night long, but definitely next week. Crystal clear audio is what we hope from Tim. So keep an eye out for that. I know everyone's been begging for it. Okay, guys, number 1 here. And a reminder, these are all in our poll for tonight. All these 4 options. I'm wondering, which one do you think is the most influential? So we're going to go through all 4 right now, and you got to get to the poll and tell us which one you think is the biggest. So number 1 here, Japan and Russia too. So
Yeah.
apparently Japan, as of a few weeks ago, they say April 1st, so yeah, I guess that's 2 months ago today, they recognize Bitcoin as a legal form of payment. Now, this article is a little more recent. It's from May 19th by Daniel Roberts, like I said, over at Yahoo Finance. So, I mean, that's pretty big. They recognized it as a legal form of payment. And supposedly that's his number one reason. I don't know if these are ordered from most important to least important in Daniel Roberts' mind, but whatever. He listed it first. Japan officially recognized Bitcoin as a legal form of payment. So what do you think about that, Zach? He also mentions kind of evidence of Bitcoin activity, which is that most of the exchange volume is done with the Japanese. Is it the yuan? I read it in here. Yeah. Well, they say that it's the Chinese yuan.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're bringing that up if it's about Japan, but
well, that's what I wasn't. Don't want to like steal all your thunder, but I feel like this whole article, he just sat down at his desk at Yahoo Finance headquarters or something. It was like, let me come up with as many reasons as possible to prove why China is not affecting the price.
Okay. See, that could be maybe it is a joke. Maybe he had no idea what he was
well, I don't mean that like he's actually joking, but there is. Well, I mean, we should just talk about these 4 reasons first, and then we can talk about China because they're doing huge things too. I just don't think, give it like obviously we talk about Asian countries all the time. They're always messing with Bitcoin, but like I don't know if Japan legalizing it or making Bitcoin a legal form of payment would cause the massive spike, and then like it's still legal, so why did it crash? Like I don't know if that necessarily caused everything we're seeing with the price behavior, but I guess it could. Who knows?
Yeah, it is hard to tell. It's always hard to tell.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, why is Bitcoin going up, especially over the past few weeks and months. And it doesn't matter. It's the market. Somebody out there wants Bitcoin. I mean, I'm sure it's interesting to talk about. That's why we're talking about it. But it's impossible to know. That's what we do on this show. We make pure, unapologetic, speculative guesses, and just for fun. We do that all the time, and we're not afraid to say it. The 21 Million Club in the chat here says it's the Japanese yen, the Chinese yuan. So hard to tell them apart. But the reason I was really confused is because his number one reason here is Japan. But one of these paragraphs in here, he starts talking about the Chinese yuan. I guess he does actually mention both in here. He says 46% of Bitcoin trading is happening in the Japanese yen. And then he starts talking about the Chinese yuan. Anyway, whatever. It's not the best article in the world. All right. But like I said, we're here to speculate and have some fun.
Oh yeah, so no, I'm all for that. I feel like he took like Eurasia or something and like chose as many countries as he could without choosing China. It's like China, you do not affect the price behavior. I mean, not his analysis is fine. Like it's good. Those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, and the parenthetical Russia edition here is that on April 10th, they reported that their central bank is working to legitimize and regulate digital currency. And I like his last paragraph here because I agree with it. There's an irony to the fact that legitimacy and regulation would boost the Bitcoin price, considering that many early believers are anti-government or anti-regulation. And that's something we go over on the show all the time. We talk about regulation and who's doing what, and the bit license, and New York, and China, and Russia, and countries in Africa that are trying to regulate Bitcoin, and India. For years now on this show, the question has been, is regulation good or bad? Because it is regulation, it is limiting, it is a limiting factor. I mean, it just is. The definition of regulation is you can't do this, this, and this with Bitcoin. However, that said, people just have the opinion that if something is regulated, it's safer and more legitimate and more usable and less risky. And that's a true fact as well. I mean, a true fact, that's redundant, but I mean, yeah, in the mind of the people, they are more interested in Bitcoin if it's regulated and legitimized. Is that good or bad? Oh, that's a huge discussion. I mean, we've had discussions about Amir Taki, who said that he doesn't want it to be legitimized. He doesn't care if everyone uses it and loves it and trusts it. It's still Bitcoin, and it does what he needs it to do. But at the same time, I mean, we'd love for it to be mainstream. So it's a huge kind of tug of war there with regulation. What do you think, Zach? What do you think is better long term for, let's say, for the world, right? We got to define our terms here. Better how? Well, let's just say better for the world. What's better? Regulated Bitcoin that's a little more mainstream, or less regulated, maybe less used, but still useful for the right people in the right place? What do you think? Hey guys, jump in the chat too while I'm asking questions. I want to know your answers. So 21 million Club, I'm talking to you and everyone else that's listening right now. Jump in the chat, you, me, and btc.com/live. And while you're at it, hit a share button so that other people can answer these questions too. Go for it, Zach.
I think on the whole, like obviously there's dozens of reasons why one is good and one is also good, different reasons for both. I think on the whole, maybe more regulated might be marginally better. And I only say that because the ultimate thing that matters, which is something we've also talked about a lot, well, not the ultimate thing, one of the ultimate things is how people who are not like techno libertarian nerd type that are early and easy adopters of Bitcoin, everyone else, like their opinion of Bitcoin is the most important thing. And like you said, regulation could make them more comfortable with the idea of a cryptocurrency rather than a paper currency, or I mean, money, most like 90% of money is electronic anyway. So it's just like the idea of a non-conventional currency, and regulation could help them become more comfortable with it. And so for that reason, I think that's a pretty important reason. And I obviously recognize like there's like every libertarian bone in my body realizes that automatically, just like carte blanche saying regulation is great, not the greatest thing in the world, but because it might allow people to be more comfortable with Bitcoin who aren't automatically enthusiastic about it, regulation might be marginally better.
Yeah. It really almost comes back to the ultimate classic never-ending debate, idealism versus realism.
Yeah.
Ideally, of course it wouldn't be regulated. Ideally, I mean, people would just use it and do all kinds of great stuff with it. But realistically, we live with regulation. We live with rules. And the mindset of everyone out there, libertarian, you still, no matter how hardcore you are, if Bitcoin is not regulated, there might be times where you have to be careful how you use it. Yeah. In fact, the whole second half of the show, we're going to be getting into Coinbase, where they're facing regulation issues.
I was just going to mention Coinbase, but yeah, I figure we get into that later. Okay.
No matter how hardcore you are, you might have to be careful. Oh, I don't want to use Coinbase because they might be watching it and regulating it, or whatever. So it's idealism versus realism, and I don't really have the answer. I don't know what's best for the world,
and I don't want
ideally, but I have no idea what's actually going to be the easiest, the quickest, the safest, the most convenient for everyone, for the most people. I have no idea. All right. I don't want regulation, but I can see how it really does in the real world. It really does make people more interested in Bitcoin, and it makes more companies accept it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to steal the thunder from the Coinbase thing, but I was just going to mention Coinbase as like similar to regulation. It's just another example of how sometimes the perfect ideal for Bitcoin needs to be sacrificed. Because in my opinion, even though it's irked some people, like Coinbase has done a ton of good for popularizing and mainstreaming and securitizing Bitcoin, even though there's a lot of things about it I'm not too happy. Yeah. So that's, again, just like regulating things, you have to compromise the ideal sometimes in favor of a little bit more practical.
Exactly. And like I said, I don't know the answer. I don't know where the line
Yeah.
exactly should be drawn. There's tons of gray area. But I
Coinbase
see,
has well, we can talk about it later, but Coinbase has done a
you know,
decent job over over the years.
yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I hear countless people saying, if there's a podcast that I recommend, Sovereign Tech, and he's incredibly like anarchist and anti-state and anti or I guess pro privacy and whatnot. He's a pretty crazy guy in good ways and bad ways. He can be real crazy. But still, no matter how hardcore he is, he's still on his show when he talks about Bitcoin. He says, just face it, you're probably buying it at Coinbase. No, it doesn't matter how private and you want to be. Still, most people just buy it at Coinbase, and that's the reality. And it's true. And it still has done tons of good for Bitcoin, I think. So, all right, we got to. We're pushing halfway through our time here. I guess we started late, so that didn't help. But we'll move on to number 2 here. Another huge deal for a year or two right now. The Bitcoin fork, and they add /Litecoin, which
The Litecoin thing, the Litecoin thing puzzled me. I wasn't real, but yeah, the fork most importantly.
Yeah, he starts talking about how the Litecoin price is going up, and he doesn't exactly explain why that is gonna help Bitcoin. Yeah, he sort of mentions it at the end. He says, after the success of the Litecoin fork, there's some renewed optimism around a Bitcoin fork and how that could help buoy the price. Okay. All right, fine. I mean, yeah. I don't know if Litecoin is a huge factor here, but the scaling issue, it's definitely a big factor. I don't know if it's a positive factor because I've always wondered, I mean, despite all this conflict and drama in Bitcoin, I would expect that to drive the price down. So I don't know if I'm just wrong and it's driving the price up, or if I'm right and it's driving the price down, but there are other factors driving it up. I have no idea. I personally, I would expect all this drama to drive it down. That's where I'm at. What do you think, Zach? What would you expect from all this drama, and where's it going here?
Well, like as I look at okay, so quickly on Litecoin, I'm not exactly sure what this guy is talking about, because back to Coinbase, if you just go on Coinbase and look at their price charts, like Bitcoin, obviously massive climbs and a huge plummet, and then it's doing its thing, going back up again. Ether, same thing. It's just, Ether has gone crazy almost as much as Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But Litecoin, it's just like up and down further and then up again. There's just no up or down pattern. So like the price isn't that big. But like with the Bitcoin drama, I feel like, I am not the most knowledgeable person on this podcast about the Bitcoin fork, but like from what I gathered from like the limited reading that I did do, there's a ton of optimism about it, and so that could reasonably make the price go up.
Yeah.
But then it just like plummeted all of a sudden. So I don't know if people like lost faith, and I guess my point is, like, for what was it, like the 3 or 4 days or something that Bitcoin sort of stabilized around 2200, 2300. Like I sort of read into that price data, however accurately or inaccurately, that people are just like chilling for a little bit, just like, all right, we spiked almost at up to $3,000 and then back to below 2,000, like 1,900. So now we're just gonna chill for a minute, and maybe that was
take a deep breath.
Yeah, maybe that was China, maybe that was the Bitcoin fork. I could easily see it being the Bitcoin fork, people just all over the place, and then just taking a step back for a minute. So all that to say, I don't know, but I'm glad the price just kind of chilled for a minute.
If anyone out there is new with us, that's so far a couple times tonight we've come back to I don't know. I don't know if it's China or Russia or Japan. I don't know if this article is any good. I don't know if the Bitcoin drama really makes a difference. That's what we say at the end of every sentence here, so just be warned about that. But
we're more useful for the random assortment of facts that we can dish out rather than the good opinions we can give.
Yeah. But hey, for whatever, the internet's big enough. Someone out there loves us. Lots of people out there actually love us. I've said that for years about the internet. You can do anything on the internet because no matter what it is, it's big enough that someone's going to like it.
But while he's
no
not
matter
on
how
here
many
yet,
articles. What'd you say?
I was just gonna say, since he's not on here yet, though, I can say this, but probably no one on the internet likes Tim. It's just a fact.
Yeah. Other than Tim, everything on the internet is liked by someone. Exactly. You nailed that one. But no, seriously, like no matter how many articles you read about the right way to do a blog or the right way to do a podcast or the right way to do e-commerce, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to make a ton of money if you do it a certain way, but you are going to find an audience no matter what. I can promise you that. Even if it's just the trolls on YouTube. So go ahead, guys. Leave us a comment right now. Give us some all caps, some profanity, whatever it takes. Geez. Okay, where was I? What was I getting into? Yeah, so the bottom line is I like your point about maybe the drama. Maybe there are some people involved in the drama that are so sure about their opinion that they are consistently buying Bitcoin and driving the price up. I don't know. I don't think that's a huge I don't think that's enough of a factor to drive it from, 1,300 to 2,800. Really could see that as a factor. Yeah. I mean, despite all the drama, there are plenty of people out there who are so sure that the user activated soft fork is going to save us, or the hard fork is going to save us, or SegWit is going to save us. There are plenty of people that are so sure that, yeah, maybe the drama is just making them even more sure about Bitcoin, which, okay, fine. I don't know if you're right, but I appreciate your enthusiasm if that's the case. So yeah, go for it.
I'm just still salty that the price went from 1,300 to 2,800 because, like, at 1,600, I offloaded a bunch of Bitcoin. I was like, clearly, yeah, clearly it's gonna like correct. This has gone up like over $400 in a couple days, and then it just went.
Yeah, it's the classic thing about a bubble. No matter how sure you are that it's a bubble, you're never going to know when it's going to stop. Even if you're completely sure that it's going to come back sometime, you don't know when it's going to pull back. Yeah. That's just the way bubbles are. So, all right, let's get into number 3 here. Bats appeal to the SEC. Now, I never heard of the term bats, but essentially it's like the exchange behind the Winklevi ETF. I guess it's the exchange that was going to host the Winklevi ETF, something along those lines. And so apparently they're appealing. Everyone knows a few months back or something, they were denied permission to create an ETF, and they're appealing. So I think we can be relatively certain that the first time when they were about to release their decision on the original ETF, I think that was a definite positive factor. Everyone was talking about it. The price went up in pretty good correlation with it. The price dropped in pretty good correlation when it was denied quick, but it was definitely a factor, no doubt. A meaningful factor. Obviously, everything's a factor. I could drop a penny into Bitcoin right now, and that's going to be a factor technically. But I would say definitely the first ETF decision, or at least whatever one it was a few months ago, was a decent factor. This appeal, though, I'm not so sure. I just haven't heard much about it, and I don't know if people have much faith in it anymore. And even if they do have faith that it will be approved, does that mean it's really good for Bitcoin? Does that mean that, maybe all the investment money that wants Bitcoin might already be somewhat involved? I don't know. What do you think, Zach? Is this appeal? I mean, like I said, I hadn't heard anything about it. I don't know if you have. Is this a factor here? We got Chris Tillett in the chat there that says, yay, BTC. It says UASF, son. That's the user activated soft fork. It's only been 6 months, and it seems so long already with Bitcoin. Put in a penny now, get 50 cents in a week. Oh yeah, thanks for chatting there, guys.
I think
You, me, and btc.com/live. Just my last reminder. Sorry. Take
no,
it away.
you're fine. I think after I was wrong about the last bubble, I'll probably take his advice and put a couple pennies that I have left in and put it in Bitcoin, and then see how many quarters I get back.
Yeah.
But I think I don't like the first or whatever number it was ETF. Yeah, like you said, I don't know if anyone, probably someone on the internet somewhere doesn't think it was a good idea, but almost unanimously it was a pretty good idea. I don't know if the appeal
A good idea to try to make the ETF, or a good idea to buy around that time?
to
What was a
buy
good
around
idea?
that time. Yeah, but the appeal. Well, I don't know
Okay.
if the appeal has a huge effect. I want to give a stronger opinion. I'm just gonna have to say I don't know if
Yeah.
it would definitely. So if we were like to rank them, what I think had more of an effect, it definitely had less of an effect than whatever he thinks Litecoin had, and even less of an effect than the Bitcoin fork that we talked about earlier. And then Russia and China and Japan on top of that. So it's probably like at the bottom of the totem pole of importance.
Yeah. That's a good point. I got my screen share back, I think. And yeah, I would agree that this top one here, nations getting involved in Bitcoin, is probably the most important one. And China is in there too. But like we've said, this other stuff, the scaling drama and Litecoin fork. I mean, yeah, in the space, everyone is talking about it. But everyone out there, I feel like they don't really even know about it or care about it. The traditional people that are putting money into Bitcoin, or not the traditional people, the big money out there, they don't know as much about scaling. They don't care as much about scaling.
Yeah.
I would guess. And then same thing, number 3 here, this ETF appeal. I don't think that's a huge factor either. I'm sure some people are out there thinking about it and thinking it might help. But like I said, I barely even heard much about this appeal. And I just don't, people already, rode that train a few months ago. It went up, it went down, and everyone realized like it's still Bitcoin, whether or not it gets accepted.
Yeah.
And I feel like they know now. It's just, it's an ETF. Yeah, it might drive the price up, but maybe a lot, maybe a little. It's just less interesting to people now. It's less of a attraction or something than it used to be.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, I don't want to play my sorrowful fiddle, but like people did realize, just like sort of I realized, that it's still Bitcoin. Like the reason why I offloaded and regret that mistake, and why I think people are sort of after all of the drama, price drama, and other related drama that we've already talked about, like I lost sight of, and potentially other people did, lost sight of the fact that Bitcoin is Bitcoin, meaning we're in this, at least conventionally, for the long term. And so when the price skyrocketed, I took my focus off the long term and focused on the short term. Like, okay, offload now. We don't know what's going to happen. When if I just rode it out, and as people are realizing, we should just ride it out and stay on the train we've been on for years through much worse things than what we're going through right now with Bitcoin. It will keep plugging away. It may go up, it may plummet, but at the end of the day, we're in it for the long game, and the long game is almost always profitable and steady and successful and all of these good things, even if the short term right now is pretty rocky. So yeah.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, long term. That's another thing we've said for ages on
True.
this show.
I don't have any original ideas. I just repeat everything you say.
No, yeah. Well, no, so do we. I mean, that's
that
we repeat this stuff because that's kind of just what it is. It's that's something we're not really wishy-washy on, is probably safer, if you go long term. Not forever. We're also pretty sure about that. It won't be around forever. but it is long term. So
Yeah.
we don't go too wishy-washy on very much. So now I will say that like I said, we've been saying it for years, and that's just kind of how I am. I mean, even when it went up to 2,800, I thought about selling. Same as Zach. I figured it was a bubble. It's probably going to back off, and it did. But I just for the long haul, and I can't really feel comfortable about taking a risk, because I could sell at 2,800 and then it could go to 5,800. Like I'm just not comfortable trying to deal with that stress and those questions and any of that when I'm so not so sure, but relatively sure that in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, I'm going to be just fine. I'd rather not deal with the stress of trying to micromanage the price and everything when I can be relatively certain about the long term. So, all right, we got to hit number 4 here. So here goes. Growing this one. I think this is a decent one. Growing legitimacy of digital currency and uncertainty in the mainstream market or the traditional market. I've been saying that for a while. Even when we, what would it be? Something like a year ago, when we were running up, over the course of 2016, when we were running up from about a 400, well, actually, we hit a low around like 200, and then we worked our way back up to 1,000-ish at the end of 2016. All that time, one of my arguments, and a lot of people disagreed with me, and I could still be wrong, but one of the things I think I kept coming back to was, well, hey, I just feel like people just want Bitcoin more. It's gone from an ideal, from a philosopher's kind of dream to an actual useful product where you can spend it a lot more places, and it's just something people need, and they're more used to it, and they can get it more places, and they can use it more places, and they're more familiar with it. It's just something. Oh, hey, I'm going to get some Bitcoin now because that's something some people get. That's something I've been saying for a while. It's just growing legitimacy, more common, more interesting, more attractive, less weird. And the traditional market is falling apart. It's not really. I mean, stock market's doing pretty well, but despite that, everyone knows it's all kind of manipulated, and it's regardless of how well the stock market does, it's the banks are doing whatever, and the Fed is doing whatever. A lot of people have uncertainty in those kind of things.
Yeah,
and I think that's a factor. So,
and
I agree with this one pretty well.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. And I think something that is encouraging the legitimacy and like drawing, so there's like a ton of different, well, how should I say this? Like nothing I say is universally true of everyone in the United States in their opinion, or around the world even, in their opinion on Bitcoin. But given uncertainties and turmoil and stuff, not just in financial markets, but in the political system and political spheres and so forth, something going all the way back to our discussion tonight about ideology of Bitcoin, like that ideology of stepping away from government or conventions or formalized institutions of money and stuff like that is attractive, even if in like the day-to-day we are sacrificing a little bit of the pure ideology for more practical reasons. That underlying ideological foundation that like triggered the creation of Bitcoin in the first place, I think is having at least somewhat of a noteworthy effect on attracting more people in. And the more people that are here, the more legitimized it becomes, and it's all just a snowball, ripple, butterfly, all those effects. So
yeah, exactly. Tim, are you with us? Can you hear us? Can you talk to us? Oh, geez.
Yeah, I can talk to you.
All right, so we'll let him go for. Okay. So hey, Tim, welcome to the show. How's it going? How's your new setup?
Cool, except
it's not working. Just so you know.
It's not working at all?
No, I mean, no, it's working. I can hear you, but you still got the robot, so that was a waste.
I don't know what the fuck this was then, Daniel. I think it's the mic or something. It's got to be the fucking mic.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Well, we got to test the recording without the internet. Anyway. Well, sorry about that, guys. I promised you something good, and we just got Tim, so whatever. But oh, whatever. We'll live with it. We'll figure it out. Tim, how's it going? How's your night going?
Wasn't until you
All right,
piece
Pete.
of shit. Anyway.
Anyway, what?
Good so far. Not too bad. Fucking around with this thing. The camera, the webcam isn't showing up either, so that's cool.
You know, it
Besides
happens.
that, it was fun. What have you guys been talking? I've been like half listening, half trying to figure out why everything's fucked up.
We said
Yeah,
everyone.
so here's what we'll do, Tim.
We said everyone on the internet loves you.
yeah, that's what we said.
All right, good.
So we covered. We just did the first article so far. We covered this Yahoo article about 4 factors driving the Bitcoin price. Now I got to run a commercial, and we got to get to the second story we want to cover tonight. But so what I'm going to do here, Tim, is have you look over those reasons during the commercial, and when we come back, we'll get your opinion about what the most influential one is, what the most serious one is, because Zach and I both had some opinions about which of those 4 actually mattered and which ones probably didn't. So, and our poll for everyone at meandbtc.com/live is just that question. Which one do you think is the most influential? Which one drives the Bitcoin price the most? So make sure you get there and plug in your vote. I'm going to have Tim do that and think about that while I play this commercial. And I'll ask you two to mute yourselves, and we'll be back in just a moment. Right back, guys. Purse is an e-commerce platform that lets you buy and sell goods for Bitcoin. Shop the world's largest selection at a discount, or set up a storefront and sell your own stuff securely with Purse's trusted escrow service. Sign up today at purse.io and use code Bitcoin to receive 10 free millibits after your first $50 transaction. Purse is also helping build and scale Bitcoin infrastructure with Bitcoin, a full node implementation of Bitcoin. Check it out at bitcoin.io and follow these guys at Bitcoin and at Purse.io. Okay, so normally I have a logo up, but I don't know why it wouldn't let me share that window tonight. But so there's our commercial for tonight. And yeah, Tim, so it's back to you. I don't know how much you got to read all that, but you know, worst case, you can just go off the titles. Japan and Russia is option 1. Scaling and fork drama is option 2. The ETF appeal is option 3. And traditional market uncertainty is option 4. Tim, you're in the hot seat. Which one is driving Bitcoin today?
Japan and Russia.
All right, you think
Definitely.
So? Why?
100%.
Why?
I have no basis. I don't need a basis.
All right, well,
president saying shit like
we
coffee,
did actually say that
people are making money by talking about that, Daniel. So it doesn't matter with anything. No,
true. Nothing matters.
say,
Who cares what drives Bitcoin? Nothing matters.
I'd say that just because I think, yeah, I mean, the big countries are a big deal, and countries are a big deal, especially with economic stuff. At least in my opinion, normally they affect it more so even than businesses do. Because I mean, a lot of people do see like businesses as controlling countries, but I think it's more governments controlling businesses. So I think something like Japan and Russia, I don't even know what you guys are talking about because again, I haven't been paying attention. But that pretty much that sounds more likely to cause a jump or a significant change than whatever else you said.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we kind of said the same thing. They're countries. They're huge. They have people, and they do a lot of stuff. Whereas, you know, scaling and fork drama, even the ETF appeal, really only the insider community even knows about that stuff, let alone acts on it positively. So yeah, that was kind of one of our theories. But all right, we'll take it. And that kind of means we got to move on, though. We're pushing it for time. So it's we got to cover Coinbase and the GOP. I'm actually going to let Zach take this one away because it was his idea. Topic to cover. So, Zach, what the heck is going on with Coinbase and the GOP of all people?
Yeah. So it's kind of a good turn of events. I was actually thinking about before like all the mess that was this past election cycle. I wrote, actually, I think maybe during the summer, somewhat early on, I wrote a quick article that's on Yumi and BTC, analyzing each of the different candidates, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, and Gary Johnson, and their stances on Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, like cryptographic technology, generally, that sort of thing. And so I was thinking, like, given this latest move that I'm about to explain in a minute, after all this background, like, which political party, could we, like, just for fun, name as the party of Bitcoin? Because there's like the party of poor income families, or the party of rich white old fuckers, and the party of this and that. And I think it, like, there's a bunch, I'm not going to say for sure, but there's a decent case to be made that right now, at least, the party, as much as you may adore or despise Donald Trump, the party of Bitcoin could be the GOP, the Republican Party right now. Because, as some of you may or may not be familiar with, Coinbase and the IRS have been in this dispute when the IRS filed a John Doe subpoena to basically get all the tax information or identification information from every Coinbase user to track when they convert cryptocurrency to fiat currency and vice versa, so that they can make sure people pay taxes, which is a real dick move. And Coinbase basically just said, no, you're not going to do that. And then the IRS like went back with its tail between its legs and like strategized to take it again to some other court case or to some other district court district, I should say, to try and actually get the information. And so recently, as of 2 days ago, a group of Republican senators in DC basically told, I don't know if you linked to the story in the podcast notes, but they basically just told Coinbase, or not Coinbase, the IRS, like, back off. Like the language was something like, this has gone far enough, or you're about to go too far, or something, which, if you want to read into that just like a tiny bit, is essentially just saying you're not going to get this information, like, let Coinbase be, which I think no one would, at least no one who likes Bitcoin, would disagree that that's a great thing. Like, honestly, when I saw that headline, it sort of popped up in the bottom. I use a PC, and so I get news alerts, and it popped up in the bottom right of my screen, and it said, like, the headline was, GOP strongly warns IRS that or threatens that IRS has gone too far. I was just like, is this serious? Like, I was just shocked that the GOP took such a strong stance against the IRS in favor of Bitcoin, and I don't really see any negatives from this at all. Like, I think it's great. And I should add one more thing. Sorry, and I should add, like, before the GOP did this, you can rat on, and I join in the cage, all the bad parts about Coinbase, but I think it's a good thing that they stood up to the IRS in the first place and just said no, and didn't just cave or try and work out a deal or something for certain information being released. And then the GOP came to back them up. I don't know what sort of lobby or interest groups from Coinbase, or if there's like big Bitcoin out there that's lobbying Congress or something. I don't know why this happened, but there's probably a reason somewhere. I'm just glad it did. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I mean, I don't know how it's going to really hurt anything, because they're right. It has gone too far. You know, they talk about, you know, you're asking for whatever, hundreds of thousands. I don't even know how many, 500,000 active Coinbase customers.
Yeah.
And their records. It's some of the quotes here. It's overly broad, extremely burdensome, highly intrusive to a large population. And yeah, I agree with all that. So I don't know what their motives are or why they're so interested in Bitcoin all of a sudden, but all right. I mean, they're right. this whole IRS probe is a joke, and it should be dealt with. It's a privacy invasion, and like we said earlier in the show, Coinbase has its issues. It's they're compliant and whatnot, but I certainly absolutely appreciate their defense here, and I hope it goes as far as it can. I don't know how far it can go because the government can ask for and get whatever it wants. But I wish them the best.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what do you think,
I
Tim?
think
Where
we'd say that about any Bitcoin business before, like any kind of a bank or something like that. Like you'd say that even the one that we made, even Butterfly Labs, you probably hold in a little bit better esteem than, say, maybe Chase Bank. I don't know. You don't really have any
Ooh.
bad experiences with banks.
that
though.
is a freaking tough one. Maybe that's next week's poll. Butterfly Labs versus any old bank.
Butterfly Labs or communists?
Oh,
That's actually a seriously good question. I guess as shitty as Butterfly Labs was, I guess you're right, Tim. They're way better than a bank, I would say. I think, and I don't
Way
know.
better than most
We made money off of them. They made mistakes, but at least they were, producing stuff and developing stuff.
Yeah, they made mistakes, but they didn't get bailed out, and then you got shit on for the rest of
Yeah,
your life.
yeah, you're right. Exactly. That's a big one. They made mistakes and they lost out for it. They're done now. But the banks can make as many screw overs as they want, and they'll still be there tomorrow. So, yeah, we got it's me, a boss lady, who says she's on 2 other live streams right now. #NerdLife. That sounds like a fun time.
Share.
21
don't
Million
share.
Club says the damn scammers had my Facebook account shut down. I don't know what scammers he's talking about, but yeah, that kind of sucks. I don't know how that happens. Sorry about that, Mr. 21 Million Club. Yeah. So anyway, guys, we got any more about Coinbase here? I'm sure we could go on for ages, but we got to do advice of the week and wrap up here pretty soon. Did we cover it? I mean, it's surprising that the GOP
guess,
would
like,
just come out like this,
if
but
someone-
probably good.
yeah. If someone finds like some Bitcoin cryptocurrency lobby that is like lining the pockets of Republican senators with Bitcoin or something to incentivize them to stop the IRS, like shoot us a link or something. I don't see like a direct interest that the GOP has in stopping the IRS, like even getting involved in this. Like they could just be like, who the hell cares? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me is like I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm wondering why they even care.
Yeah.
But whatever. So far I'm with them. So
Also, I should add,
Cool.
one of my favorite things about the government and Bitcoin is so they have like had hearings and committees and stuff to try and over the years trying to figure out all this new technology, one of which is Bitcoin. And this one Republican senator, which I think I've mentioned on this show before, asked one of the experts from Coinbase or some coin fund or something. He's like, so whose face is printed on a Bitcoin or something? I just like tried so hard not to lose it in the hearing. It's like he's like 75-year-old Republican sitting up there confused out of his mind. It was
Did I put Satoshi's face on it?
yeah.
Abraham Lincoln, he made electricity.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. All right, guys. I'm gonna do my advice of the week first. I got two little nuggets here. They're both pretty obvious. I do that pretty often. I keep my advice just pretty straightforward and obvious advice because why not? I don't know. But number one is going to be before we're wrapping up here, you got your last chance to get to you, me, and btc.com/live. If you want to send us a chat message, this is your last chance for this week anyway. Obviously, come back next week. That's some more advice for you. Send us a tweet in the meantime if you want to get a hold of us. Tell us something interesting. Give us a story for next week or something like that. Send us a tweet to @you-me-and-btc. That's my first bit of advice, all that stuff. Keep up with us. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the share button. Hit the Facebook button. I don't know if anybody still uses that, but whatever.
Is there still like
yeah, that's my first bit. Huh?
Is there still Dig, right? There's one called Dig or something like that.
True.
Oh, dig the social media dig. Yeah, that's true. or
Please
I guess
reach those
I guess
people. Those are the kind of fans we need. The people who are just settling for the bar
yeah.
comment.
Yeah, where's the You, Me, and BTC Tumblr? I'm trying to follow that shit.
Dude, we
Yeah.
should definitely
I got a
schedule.
LinkedIn button, a Pinterest button, delicious button. You can find all that somewhere. Yeah, make sure you hit those pages up. Okay, guys, Segwit or hard fork for BTC? That's a chat message from Free Skill Share Media. I don't really know what he's talking about. Is that a question? Segwit versus hard fork?
It's a demand.
I don't know.
He's holding
And then he said
the
something
show
about
at
Steam
ransom
It.
right now. Steam it.
But hey, guys, my other bit of advice is fairly obvious again, but I'm going to drop back to our comments about long term. Bitcoin is long term for me. I can't afford to deal with the stress of trying to short it up or down. I don't really have time for that, and I just keep it long term and try to get more as much as I can. So that's me.
My advice. Well, I guess my advice is twofold. One is directly about Bitcoin. The other has nothing to do with Bitcoin at all. So one, stay long term, because I didn't, and I timed the bubble wrong and just effed me in the. Yeah, it didn't go well. Second advice. I'm a huge.
F me the
I'm
A.
Yeah, I don't know if we're allowed. I don't know if there's like a government regulation for language on this, but so my other advice has nothing to do with Bitcoin. I'm a huge hookah fan, and I just came back from Puerto Rico for a week. And in Puerto Rico, so I've always smoked hookah, and me and Dan have shared several bongs together, but it's always water in the base. But in Puerto Rico,
whoa. I don't know if those are called bongs. Bowls, you mean?
or bowls.
Whoa.
I
It's
think
just called a water pipe, and regardless of what it was, you're fine. Even if you
Never touched
right,
a
we both know you're in
bong
Puerto
in my
Rico
life.
smoking crystal meth this
True,
past weekend, but
it's
whatever.
probably not called a bong. I don't know what it's called, but or a
Water
hookah pipe or something. But in Puerto Rico, they put milk and sometimes hard liquor like tequila or Jack Daniels or something in the base.
Geez. I tried that once. I tried rum. It was a mistake. I've heard that people die from that. It burned so bad. I don't know. I don't know much.
You can inhale parts of alcohol. Parts of alcohol do vaporize, but then you also, if you get too much of that, you can't vomit that up, so you will die easier than drinking.
True. So I guess use your own discretion.
Milk sounds okay. I hate milk with a passion.
What the fuck are you talking about? Huh? Milk sounds good.
No, here's the thing. I hate milk with a passion.
I tried. I think it was tequila. I don't remember. And milk, and they were both like very new. I didn't know what to expect, but like not bad overall. And I clearly didn't die from the alcohol, but I guess you could.
So it's weird. I have a passionate hatred for milk. The thing is, I don't understand. Nobody would drink cow food, and nobody would eat cow food. Nobody would eat baby food. So why would you drink baby cow food? That's what I don't understand. Despite that, for whatever reason, it does sound strangely good in a hookah. Maybe just the texture, it'd be creamy or something. I don't really know why, but I feel like I got to try it.
I'm almost positive it's called a bong, Dan, but like marijuana is legal. So even if you thought we were smoking marijuana instead of hookah, think whatever you want. But I'm almost positive it's called a bong.
Regardless, no one let
maybe
Daniel near their bong because he's gonna fill it with milk, and they're like, "Dude, this tastes better, man. You get way higher, man." Get that latte.
All right, Tim, it's your turn for advice of the week. I like that, Zach. I like switching it up. Let's give some advice about hookah. We tried a year ago to rebrand and broaden our show so we could talk about hookah for a whole episode or whatever the heck we wanted to. We never got around to it. Just time and ideas were running short. But I still really want to make that happen where we really can talk about God knows what, and just have fun, relax on the air. So we might get there someday, but still, at least we can fit it in for advice of the week where anything goes. All right, Tim, anything goes here. What you got for us?
If you're smoking a hookah, just stop. Smoke cigarettes like a normal person if you really need to. Advice. If before buying a substantial costing laptop, check and see if it's the mic first.
I told you, Tim, we talked about this. I wanted you to record it without the internet, record it directly to your hard drive and see if that messes up. Because if it doesn't, if that works perfectly, then you know it's not the hardware. It would be the internet in that case.
I recorded it to Audible. Or not Audible. Yeah, I'm putting stuff on Audible. I'm putting all these shows on Audible. That's the other thing. Any kind of podcast you have, just fucking hack Audible and just throw them on there and start charging people a fuck ton of money for them because Audible doesn't. Also, if your webcam doesn't work, just press the button that turns your webcam on. And besides that, eat more vegetables. Stock 22 rifles because squirrels are going to eventually take over the world afterwards. Because coffee
and ferrets. Ferrets are evil.
Squirrels and ferrets, yes, do have a deep passion for coffee, or whatever. How do you pronounce it?
Oh my god!
How do you pronounce it?
I'm not participating in this. This show is over.
Anyway,
thanks for joining us today.
Love yourself. Goodbye.
I have been Daniel Brown. I have been with Zach and Tim. And come back next Thursday. No, but seriously, guys, this show is seriously over because I don't want to talk about whatever you just said. But no, also to our audience, come back next week. Dead serious. I can't wait to have you. And, another Thursday night, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. It'll be a great time. Well, in the meantime, like I said, you, me, and BTC.com. Hit a tweet button if you want to send us an article to cover or some at. Check out our Bitcoin swag, our Bitcoin t-shirts, our Bitcoin calculators, our Bitcoin reviews. If you want to check it out, it's the place to be. You, me, and BTC.com/live. If you're hearing music right now, on the podcast version, that's from John Stewart. Thanks for that. And one last reminder that I haven't gotten to in a while. I've been saying /live all night, and that is true every week. That will get you to our current show. But just as a reminder, so everyone knows, I will update that redirect to point to the most recent show. So a month from now, /live will point to a different show. If you want to get to this one in particular, you can go to you, me, and BTC.com/E177. You, me, and BTC.com/E177. That's how you get to a specific episode. Thanks for being here, guys. Once again, music you're hearing is from John Stewart, and we will see you next Thursday. Peace out.